right, yeah, we're wasting a lot of material, I guess.
All right, yeah. We need to talk. All right, welcome to Serge Tha Purge, the podcast. We're here talking about how Matt Schaff just got COVID-19 on the last gig before everything was canceled in LA. Me and Matt used to work for a sound company together, which is how we met, called Design Sound. And then Matt also does a bunch of movies and shit, and he does cool shit that you wish you did and you don't. So let's fucking talk about it.
There's an intro, like,
No, dude, no.
everyone,
No, actually, I'll be honest with you. I don't envy your job.
it's
like,
tough, man.
Like doing posts, like I can't, man. I can't sit there and like edit that shit for that long, man. It's tedious.
Well, especially with dialogue. I mean, when you get good with it, you kind of know how to use the weaknesses of the track itself to kind of, expedite the process, and especially with, these deadlines that you got to hit. I mean, some of the guy, some people I've heard horror stories, about, they're like, oh yeah, this, I had to do this feature for Lifetime or something, and they gave me like 3 weeks to do it, and it's just a tough one.
Shit, yeah.
Well, and here I am saying, I read this on one of these Facebook groups I'm a part of, and I say I don't comment on it, but I say to myself, dude, that's been my life for like 5 years. Yeah.
I feel like 3 weeks though, for any deadline in the industry is not that bad. I feel like 3 weeks. It's like shit. I got 3 weeks.
Well, they expect, and then, for me too, because these budgets are nothing. So, you're sitting there, you're got to cut all this dialogue for a feature in like 3-4 days. Yeah. And then you got to go through all the backgrounds, right? And then I'm cutting Foley too. So I'm cutting all this Foley for this feature, but
I didn't realize you were doing Foley. That's a
yeah, and sound effects. The whole thing.
Wait, but you're having to record Foley yourself?
Sometimes I do. Other times I cut it from a library, my library.
Sound Miner and shit?
Yeah, well, I don't use Sound Miner yet, only because, everyone always is freaking out about Sound Miner, how awesome it is. And it is awesome. It's great. For me, I would just assume, for Sound Miner, because I can manipulate audio in any way, or preview out audio in any way through Pro Tools itself,
right,
through their import function or their workspace function or stuff like that. But what's cool about Sound Miner, I think, is that you can search multiple drives at once. So it's because if you're going through, trying to pick out sounds or whatever through your library, you can only search one hard drive at a time, right? You have to click on it.
It is a motherfucker.
Yeah, so that's why Sound Miner is so cool, I think, in my opinion. But
yeah,
with everything else, I can manipulate in Pro Tools. I do a pretty good job of it, or through our, Isotope, or whatever.
Let's dive in here. How did you end up doing? When did you move to LA? How did you get into film and live sound? And were you already doing that, or did you just fucking move here on a whim and just like learned everything, like most people? Or here, I say here is like if I'm still there, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, it's weird saying I don't really talk about my story too much. I've never really had to, but
that's why we're here.
Yeah, well, it's cool to kind of look into the past and look at how I got here. This is cool for me, to kind of tell the story. So I guess I started. I wasn't in audio at all, really. As a kid, I used, I was in bands. I started my first band when I was in 6th grade with my brother and my best friend at the time. Right. Great drummer. It was awesome all through high school. Even, he still plays. I hope he still plays. I haven't talked to him in a while, but yeah, we started that band. But I guess that was my first thing in audio, because my dad had bought an old Tascam 4-track tape recorder. Nice. With like all these EQs, and you could send, to different effects, different effects patches or buses on there. It was the Tascam 424 MK3.
Okay.
And
Never heard of it.
it was a cool, the big blue little board. It was cool, and I guess that's how I kind of started. But I started in bands. I just wanted to release my music and
right
and all that. And then I started a new band, and then we ended up, going to record at this Grammy guy at the time. He was a big guy through, working with a lot of drive-through records bands at the time.
right.
Chris Badami down in New Jersey. He was in Lincoln Heights, New Jersey, or Lincoln Park. Yeah, Lincoln Park, New Jersey.
Okay.
And that was kind of, I saw a huge, this beautiful studio with all this crazy stuff. But even then, as him recording, I'd hop on Pro Tools and hit the recording button for him, because he actually played on the record we had released at the time through this band I was in called A Coastline Ending.
Nice. Very like Warped Tour scene name there.
Yeah, we were very pop, it was a pop rock kind of
nice.
Kind of a Broadway. What our singer at the time was actually a Broadway, act, or theater guy.
Right.
It was a very theatrical kind of album, I thought. I didn't think it was going to turn out that way, but it did. And then we toured off of that for a while or whatever, and then I ended up leaving that band. But I got talking with my buddy Brent, who Brent Kinney.
Oh, you've known Brent for that long? Shit.
Yeah, he grew up down the street from me.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, yep. And but he was in school down in New Haven for sound recording or recording arts.
Wait,
or whatever.
are you from New Jersey?
No, I'm from Connecticut. I grew up in Connecticut.
Okay, I gotcha.
But yeah, so but he was in that program down there, and then he was recording some of my stuff some just new stuff I was coming out with, and I was just kind of, making myself into, I was just working restaurants, and I became a bartender and stuff like that. And I started bartending, but he was living down in New Haven, going to school down there for recording arts. So he was recording with his MBox 2 Pro, and I was like, man, this is cool, but I can't always make it down there, and plus this is actually pretty cool, and I could probably do this kind of cheap. So I ended up getting an iMac, an old like 2008 iMac, I think it was at the time, and then an MBox 2 Pro and Pro Tools 8 LE, and that's how I kind of started. And then I started recording friends. I created this. I was living with a guy, Tony, who's one of my best friends, but I was living with him, and we ended up renting this house, and we made the studio downstairs where I'd record everybody, and made like a nice little isolation closet or whatever.
Yeah.
And started recording there. So really, I've never been in film. I never did any film at all, ever. Never thought I was gonna. It didn't even come across my mind.
Yeah, likewise, honestly.
Right.
I didn't even want to do it. I was like, this doesn't even seem interesting when I fucking got into it.
Well, I just didn't know. I came from, because I didn't go to college for sound at all. I went for psychology and economics at University of Connecticut.
Oh, wow, okay.
And, so I never even, just playing in bands and being around it, I was just around it.
Yeah.
And eventually, in like 2000 and this is my 7th year in Los Angeles. It'd be 7 years in January. So.
Oh my dude, how have you not offed yourself? Like, bro, I didn't even make it to 5 years, dude. That's usually the cutoff, I think, for everyone is 5 years.
Well, I'm getting to that point, and we'll get there. We'll get there in the conversation, I'm sure. But yeah, so almost 7 years ago, I moved out, and I didn't, because Brent had moved out here, and then a buddy of ours, Eben, had moved out here. Chris Mero, a buddy, Chris.
Holy shit! All the homies came.
Yeah, there was 3 guys, and then actually another friend of mine, Chris Asher, had moved out before all those guys, and then he was kind of the way for them, and then Brent was kind of the way for me to come, because I visited him sometime before the New Year. It was in November. It was before Thanksgiving, and I came and visited. I visit everybody, and I wanted to check out Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And I just said, I'm moving here. This is what I'm going to do, because I was bartending at the time. There was nothing going on. I mean, I couldn't make. I'd get a band together and we would jam, but nothing would ever really come of it, and everything was just so blah that it was like, well, if I want to do this and I want to test myself, well, where better than the entertainment capital of the world?
Yeah,
so,
I think that was all of our thoughts for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, what better way to literally ruin my life than to move to this city and make it way harder?
Pretty much, yeah. And, you find out a lot about a lot of stuff, and but anyway,
I don't regret it at all.
I don't either. I mean, hell, man. I mean, I moved out, so I packed my Volvo station wagon, 96 Volvo, and I drove all the way out. Got here in about 2.5 days from Connecticut.
Oh, that's a fast drive, dude.
I didn't stop. I mean, I drove 18 hours a day and then just slept on the side of the road at some rest stop
for like 4 hours.
Yeah, and just kept going.
Jeez, man.
Yeah, I mean, I made it from Connecticut to Little Rock in a day.
That's pretty extravagant. Although I think on my drive here, I made it from Phoenix to Dallas in one day, which I thought was pretty bold.
That's a good move, because
I went 14 hours.
Yeah, because I went from Little Rock. The next day, I went from Little Rock to just outside Albuquerque, New Mexico. The next day.
Oh my dude, you were fucking cruising.
Yeah, and then that from Albuquerque to Los Angeles was the last leg, and I got here in the afternoon. And
sunny skies.
Sunny skies, man. Oh, you got your wide eyes looking at all.
Got a guy in a pinstripe suit smoking a cigar.
But yeah. I was chain smoking cigarettes.
Oh yeah, dude. You got some guy that's like, hey, kid, you want an opportunity? That's all I saw was fame when I moved to LA. I was just like, dude, this is fucking dope. I literally thought I was never gonna leave when I moved there. I was like, why would I ever leave this place?
Yeah, well, I loved it. I mean, I had good friends. We had our recording stations. I had my gear. Brent had his gear. Evan has great talent. I mean, it was a cool time, and I loved it. I mean, we might have been broke. There's 4 of us living in that
dude,
apartment.
That's like the best time, though, man.
Oh, dude.
Those are my favorite times, living in that city when I was broke as fuck.
Oh, yeah. Living on the couch. I lived on their couch for 6 months.
That's a while.
Yeah, it's a while.
It's a while, dude.
Yeah.
I don't think I lived on a couch for that long. That's pretty.
Eating ramen and just trying to make it happen. And then, I never really got things going, because, I guess, I don't know. I just started to see a different part of music itself and that industry, and I just didn't want to be a part of it. Like,
that's exactly how I felt about it too.
Right, and that's how a lot of people are feeling about it, because it's just not. I don't know.
No, I felt like it was ruining music for me, frankly.
It did.
I think it ruined it for me at the time. I think now I've gotten inspiration after leaving, but I think for sure it was like you saw the dark side of fucking everything.
You did, and you saw it was more about. I mean, things just really start coming out when you kind of live here, and not to sound crappy about it, but I'm just sounding real about it.
No, it is real.
Yeah. It's how you act. It's what you can do. I mean, I've heard stories of engineers that didn't even know what the hell they were doing. They just got thrown studios around here, and they just got put into it. They didn't know the first thing about it, but it's just who they knew, and just getting there. And I guess that goes with every job, but I guess I think
it is a harsher reality because no one wants to help you in LA.
Well, everyone's just out to get theirs.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're not, in order to get somewhere, like there isn't, I mean, See, my situation is actually different, and that's why I respect the guy I work, my colleague. I call him, he's a colleague, Mike Archaki. I mean, really went out of his way. I mean, so that's the thing. I mean, I actually found, I had done one movie, and I was working at the Beverly Hilton Hotel as a bartender at the time. And actually, that's a really interesting story that I should get into.
Get into it.
Well, it's so cool because, that's where they have the Golden Globes and things like that. And, I was bartending. I wasn't doing anything. I was doing exactly what I was doing at home, only making a ton of money. I mean, I had so much cash from working that bar.
Isn't that some real shit, though?
It's crazy, man.
Dude, LA, you can make stupid money doing anything.
Well, you can, and especially if you're around those rich people. I mean, they don't care about the money. I mean, I remember a man would hand me $100 bill and say, "Oh, don't ring this. Yeah, give me a refill. Don't ring it in. I know so and so, who he did, and said, don't ring it in. Just keep it.
Nice.
And boom, you put $100 bill in your pocket. And he would do that, 3-4 times a day.
That is stupid money. Then
it was dumb. I mean,
it's better than sound money. Shit, man. What are we doing?
And you're making $20 an hour as a bartender, and you're getting full benefits. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, it's unionized, but I mean, it was ridiculous money. I mean,
wow.
But I was at Golden Globes, bartending there, and I met David White. And David White was the sound designer. Australian guy, really awesome guy at the time. I mean, he probably wouldn't even remember me, but you know what he said? Because I was working with another guy, another good friend of mine, but he was a server there, and he had gotten to talk to Dave about what he did, because this, Merrill, my friend Merrill, he was is a server there, and he's trying to be an actor and stuff. So he was kind of shooting the shit with him, and I had gotten to talking to Merrill about how I wanted to do sound design. Like, I was looking into it, and I did this movie, and it was so much fun, and I loved to do it, and it was really just kind of cool seeing that movie and being in charge of something from start to finish, and to hear the difference was so cool to me.
Right.
So it was a movie called Get Naked. It was like my first film ever. Feature film too.
I was going to say, I think I've heard of that movie, actually. Who's in it?
It actually went to Cannes. And it was my first film I ever did,
Wait, what is Cannes?
Well, the Cannes Festival in France.
Oh, shit. Okay, I got you. That's
really cool. Big film festival, really cool thing. Anyway, so, I mean, looking back on it now, I could have done such a better job knowing what
Wait, how did you even get that opportunity to do that
Craigslist,
movie?
Man. It was Craigslist.
What the fuck?
Yeah, Craigslist has gigs.
They must have had a very low. Did they have a low budget for that, or?
Oh yeah. They gave me like $1,000, I think. But
that's not bad for your first movie, dude. Actually,
it's better. I'm used to do. I was used to doing shit for free at that time.
Oh yeah.
So to come across that gig, and he was like, "Matt, I picked you because you were just a normal guy," And I was like, "That's cool," But anyway, so Merrill had David White come over because he was the sound designer for Mad Max Fury Road.
Nice.
And so David White comes over to the bar. He starts talking. He says, "Oh, I heard you want to be a sound designer." And I said, "Yeah, like I just did my first film, and I loved it. I loved doing it. I did all the dialogue. I did the Foley on it. I did some sound effects on it. It was really cool. I loved to do it." And we just got to talking and talking and talking. And all of a sudden he's like, "All right." He's like, "Wait, are you coming in tomorrow?" This was the day before the Golden Globes.
Wow.
He goes, "Are you coming in tomorrow?" And I was like, yeah, I'll be here. All of us will be here. It's a huge day. It's busy as hell.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay. He's like, well, when you come in tomorrow, come in, but don't come in here. He's like, come with me. Oh. He's like, if you want to go and meet everybody, he's like, you can come with me, and you can come with me to the Golden Globes.
Oh, shit, bro.
And I said, holy cow. I said, man, I don't know if I can do that. I mean,
you fucking told him that shit?
Well, that's what I told him. And he said, no, just do it. And he's like, if you want to go and hang out with Spielberg and the rest of us, he's like, come with.
Oh, damn, that is legendary.
It is kind of legendary. And I don't know if he was just talking game or whatever, but I came in the next day and I went to the bar and I had a job to do. I had rent to pay, bills to pay, you know, all that stuff.
Right.
He wins the Golden Globe. He comes up to the bar and he goes, Matt, he's like, I told you to leave. He was like, you were supposed to leave. If you wanted to do this, you were supposed to leave. And I was like, dude, I just couldn't, you know, I mean, I have to pay my bills. I have to do this, you know, I mean, this is my responsibility. I have to be here. But from then on, I understood, it hit me like a ton of bricks, because whether he was bullshitting or not, he taught me a good lesson. And the lesson was, Matt, you could do this. You've hit the pinnacle of your bartending career. Here you are at the Golden Globes, and now you just got invited to go. And whether he was bullshitting or not, you didn't go. So
that is a harsh reality.
You have to choose what you're going to do.
That is some bullshit.
A month later, I left my job and I started looking for gigs. And I went back to Design Sound because I had left this. I didn't leave Design Sound. I just stopped working because I was always working the weekends. So
I didn't know you were with them at that
point. I
was
with them before that. And then I got my job at the Beverly Hilton and I left for that year because I was only there a year. And then I left the Hilton and went back to Design Sound just to get money on the table, you know, just to do something. And yeah, I mean, from that decision on, you know, from that moment on, I decided, you know, if I'm going to be a bartender, I can go home and do that. You know, I can go anywhere in the world at this point and do it. I know how to do it. I'm good at it. And, you know, I got that, you know, and I reached that point. So for me, I was like, I came out here to do this. I came out here to be an entertainment professional, you know, some creative of some sort. And I mean, yeah, I'm creating drinks at the bar, but I just ruined. I could have possibly just ruined the best chance of my life to get involved in that kind of market, really, and those kind of budgets.
Yeah.
So that's a good story. But then,
wow, man, we might not even have been doing this interview if that shit happened. I mean, you might have been owning a house in Beverly Hills.
I'm so happy for Design Sound. I mean, I thought I knew stuff coming here, and I had the big wide eyes, and I thought I could do, you know, stuff because I had my Digio 3 rack. I still got in the rack over there, and I was like, I can do whatever. Let's do this. And then it turns out I don't know shit. I don't know anything about this, and so I'm happy, and I'm happy to have met you too, man. You know?
Hell yeah, bro. I wish we could have, you know, if this shit didn't happen, we'd still be hanging out, you know.
Yeah, well, I mean,
but I don't regret it either, man. I got, you know, Nashville's been good to me so far, you know.
Good, man. That's good. Yeah, I mean, it sucks with the productions drying up around here, but at least you're in a place where, you know, I mean, I don't know too much about the COVID situation there, but at least
it's definitely like not as extravagant as LA. Like LA is just completely, I mean, you guys are toast, man. As much as I hate to put it like that, it's like at least Nashville is like, it's toast, but it's like there's still people like doing shows like in the downtown stuff. Like I've actually played a couple shows with my band so far, but they're all acoustic right now, like out of town shit. But you know,
that's cool though, man. At least you're able to. I mean, I do know there are some people still hosting parties out here, but you know, I mean, as Garcetti says and Newsom says, we're gonna cut off your utilities.
Oh my God!
Catch you having parties.
Jeez, fuck. God, I'm glad I left California. Well, that's crazy, man. Because you know, I feel like the exact same thing happened to me, but I think I realized it earlier on when I moved to LA because I was fortunate enough to have like a mentor because I moved out there with no one. Like I didn't know a single human being when I moved to LA, and I just moved like pretty much on a whim. Like I did go to audio school and shit, and that's how I met like some people and stuff. But like I felt like when I did that which was like only, you know, like a week into living there, it was like, yeah, I don't know shit, you know. And I quickly learned to accept that reality and accept that everyone was better than me at everything and fucking learn
cool.
from them.
I mean, I don't know. How did you get the job at Design Sound, to be honest? Because that's a good group to get involved with.
No, it was.
All those guys over there are talented, man. And they know their stuff. I mean, Pablo, Davis, of course.
Davis, man. I miss Davis, bro. He fucking roasted me sometimes too much, though, on gigs. I was like, fuck, man. Like I was having a good time with Davis, and then he like always throw like those underhand jabs at me. I was like, man, fuck you.
Sometimes that's how you know he likes you. I mean,
we were homies.
We jab each other. Well, that's the thing with Design Sound too. It's such a family of, and it is.
I really liked Design Sound. Actually, I think out of everyone I worked for, I probably enjoyed the group of people the best. Because it was like all my homies were at Design Sound. Well, actually, in another company with Sean with Mixed Master Sound, like all my homies were like in those two groups. So like some of my homies worked for both of them and shit. So we just show up to the warehouse and it's like, yo. But I got that gig. Funny story, because I actually just told this story for a YouTube thing yesterday on my Patreon.
Nice.
I actually ended up my first ever audio gig. You don't know Josh Morales, do you? I still got to get him on the podcast, but he was a teacher that I had in MI when I was still there. And I kind of like, when I got into live sound, I was pretty much just doing it to like figure out my game plan for LA. Cause I was like, well, this shit's like popping. Like everyone's doing live gigs. Like might as well take advantage of it,
That's where the money is, man.
Yeah, that's where I saw the money going.
Started. Yeah,
because all the studio shit was all these gray-haired motherfuckers taking over the game, and I was like, well, I don't even have an in here unless I'm an intern for like 5 years. So I was like, at least if I get into live, like someone will hire me at like a club. Like I didn't really know anything about it. So after I got out of school, I hit up Josh like 6 months later, dude, and I was pretty much doing what you were doing, like couch surfing and shit, like between like different friends' places, like just trying to pay my rent. And I worked at a record store. And then I hit up Josh and I was like, hey man, like long time no speak. Like I remember you saying that you would, help me, like get my foot in the door somewhere. Like, do you have any like prospects I can hit up? And it just gives me like 2 emails. One of them hits me back, and that was like the first dude I ever got gigs with, and it was all corporate shit, like weddings, fucking corporate parties and shit. And that was like my first intro to like actually getting paid to do sound. And that's when I like actually going and doing it is where I learned like way more shit than when I was in school. And then from there, I had like a bunch of bullshit happen, and I ended up still I was still broke as fuck. And I ended up like leaving that job, and I was just like super fucking poor, dude. Like I lived in Van Nuys for a while. Like, you know where that is and shit. Right?
Van Nuys. It's just it's funny like that far. It's just such a grid, man. You know what I mean? It's like flat concrete in the valley. That's so valley. It's ridiculous.
I hate the valley, dude. It's so depressing.
Well, everybody, I mean, that's where they say people careers go to die, but at the same
time, go in the valley, really?
Yeah, that's what I've heard that before. I mean, there's so much talent in there. I mean, the talent pool.
What do you consider the valley though? Because I consider the valley everything past North Hollywood, but I don't consider Burbank and Studio City the valley. I still consider that pretty much LA.
It is though, right? I mean, but
it's still like LA, man.
Yeah,
it's like 5 minutes outside of Hollywood.
I've had this conversation before with some buddies too, because Burbank isn't considered the valley, but
Burbank is like its own. It's incorporated.
Yeah. Well, you can't even smoke on the street in Burbank.
No, you'll get a ticket for smoking over there. Yeah,
smoking. Could you?
Yeah.
But I mean, well, that's the thing too. Is Studio City? That's the pass, right? I mean, really, that's the pass into the valley.
Yeah.
And then Burbank is like the pass from the east into the valley.
Right.
So it really starts after Burbank, but then Burbank too, like
I consider North Hollywood the valley.
Yeah, North Hollywood is the valley. That's like the start of the valley.
Yeah, but it's still kind of LA to me. Like that's still like the city.
Well, it has the name Hollywood,
Yeah, but it's grimy. North Hollywood's grimy, but how I got that gig.
Hey, they have a cool little downtown though. You got to admit.
They do. That's why I still admit that it's like kind of LA-ish. You got like Magnolia Boulevard and all those cross streets that have cool shit on them. So I'm like, all right, the rent's still high over here. It's still LA.
Everywhere, man.
Yeah.
I was paying $3,200 a month, with
Boyle Heights, right?
Yeah, Boyle Heights.
That's fucked up, bro. That's fucked up. That's a fucking sketch ass neighborhood.
They didn't. Yeah, I mean, it was cool. I was right down the street from that cool little. What is it called? Right on First. I was on First in St. Louis, and right there where the police station is.
Yeah.
And but there was a cool little taco joint there. I go to the little shops there. They had like Mariachi Plaza. That's where I'd take.
See, I never really hung out in downtown all that much. I really hung out mostly in like Hollywood and Studio City Valley area.
Yeah, see, I'm all East LA, man. I know downtown. I know the East pretty well. And then
I don't like the East.
Silver Lake,
I like the West.
Yeah,
I like
everyone.
The bougie shit.
Yeah.
I like West Hollywood. I like Santa Monica.
Yeah, let's go have some $15,
or I could get shot having my $10 coffee shit in Echo Park.
It's that $5 you save. It's a little extra,
Yeah, man. I don't know now with all this shit going on. None of it's safe.
It really wasn't that bad. I mean, the thing is that now how things have just changed so quickly. I mean, so many people are leaving.
Yeah.
It's scary. I mean, really, am I planning to move at the end of the year? I mean,
do it, bro. Get the fuck out of LA.
Well, I just want to be able to move, but have my my network here.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a part of me that loves Los Angeles. It gave me my life. It gave me this creative.
Same here. I feel like it made me, man.
Well, it made me realize, what this how hard this is, and how. How we're all kind of in it together, but like at the same time,
we're not. We're just stabbing each other in the back.
Cutthroat,
We're like, yeah, man, we're homies. And then it's like, oh yeah, but I took his fucking gig, so fuck that guy.
Yeah, right. You get undercut all the time by people just looking for work because they're just starving out here, and it's just tough because everyone's got these degrees. Everyone wants to be a creative. Everyone wants to do this.
That's what really started like bogging me down is seeing like walking into a Starbucks and seeing that everyone that worked there wanted to be an actor. Like, this isn't your job because it doesn't pay enough to live here. Like, that was another thing that really started draining me out, man, was like the rent and like knowing that no one could afford to live here unless you had a fuck ton of money. Like, even people like us that were like, we literally had to like 5 days a week be hustling gigs to be able to afford anything. And it was like constant cash flow to match the expenses,
Well, constant work, I mean, that's the thing. Because, I mean, for me, after these live gigs dried up, I have my weekends back to myself. And I haven't, and speaking from a bartender too, I've been working weekends.
Same.
For years. Okay. Yeah. Like, I'm used to working the weekend. Really, my days usually off are right like Tuesday, Wednesday, or Monday.
Yeah, same. Tuesday. Yeah.
So it was like, okay. But even then, at the live gigs, I'm still doing posts, right? So I'm still trying to get posts because these budgets are shot. Yeah. And then you're working the live gigs every weekend. So really, I'm just used to the hustling at this point.
Yeah.
And I hate calling it hustling. It's not hustling. It's just hard fucking
But it
work.
kind of is, though, because it's like people like, I don't want to say they'll forget about you because like if you're in with a good group like Design Sound, they don't. But it's like, you still are always trying to stay relevant to get the call,
Yeah, I guess so. For
That's
me,
how I felt.
Well, hustling to me implies something shady going on.
Some of the gigs were shady, though. Shit.
Well, yeah, maybe the gigs, but I'm not. You're not. Like,
yeah.
Hustling implies, you lie about something in order to get gigs, and it's like, and actually, that's actually a lot of people's philosophy out here, right? Fake it till you make it is a huge.
Fake it till you make it is the real thing, though. I think still.
It kind of is. You have to kind of be in that mentality. Just say yes.
Yeah.
Let future you deal with it. You know what I mean?
That's literally, dude. I feel like 50% of everything I did was like I'm just gonna let the future me stress out about this when I get to it, because I don't know what I'm doing. But I said
Well,
yes.
and I guess I have to admit to doing it myself because that's how I met Mike. That's how I met Mike.
Mike Lang?
No, not Mike Lang. Mike Archaki, the guy with the
Oh,
post
gotcha.
audio stuff. I work with him all the time, and
Yeah.
I
Oh,
helped
that's a
him get
good
that
dude.
stage in Burbank. Yeah, but I guess I did fake it till I make it, but I did it like unknowingly because I had
Yeah.
just gotten done with that. I actually just had gotten done with another short that I had gotten off some ad, some Mandy.com ad or something like that. And it was just a short movie. And I nailed that one. I thought that one came out great. And, yeah, and they loved it. It was all
Yeah.
good. But, and then I saw Mike because I met Mike on Craigslist.
Oh, no shit, man.
And he was looking for a sound design guru. I remember the ad. And it turned out that he was from Connecticut, so we hit it off that way. And he was like, "All right, I want to give you a try." And he gave me this movie, and I completely bombed. I bombed this whole thing, and I
shit.
did it unknowingly. Unknowingly, I bombed this thing, and he was like, "This is not what it is." And he didn't really say anything like that. He still paid me, and he gave me another shot.
Really? That's lucky.
He did, but he didn't really say anything about it. But I knew I bombed it, and I went on and I started just researching post-production audio, all of it, all the checkerboarding you have to, like everything that you have to do. And that next movie I nailed. I knocked it out of the park. And he was like, "Wow," because he brought me into his little studio at the time that was in Glendale.
Okay.
And he was probably getting ready to yell at me, saying, "I'm not paying you for this garbage." But then he opened it up, and he saw everything he needed and everything he wanted. And I think that, I guess, faking it till I made it, not unknowingly, and actually getting a bad, because he didn't really even yell at me for that first movie, but I knew he was unhappy with it.
Right.
Like, man, I got to learn more about this. So I did, and then I brought it in, and then boom, I've been working with him ever since. And I've done like 50 films with Mike. We built the whole soundstage in Burbank together.
Yeah.
And now he's asking me, actually next week, he's asking me to actually mix, my first film, which is really kind of cool.
That's dope. That's a big deal, man.
It is. And to grow, and for him to give me a chance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you don't find that anymore. A lot of times it's more of like, well, he's getting something out of the deal too, obviously,
Right, of course.
He's getting help. He's getting somebody, is starting to nail these films for him. I've seen what the directors have said about my work, and they've told me in person that, Matt, you've did an amazing job here, and it just draws me back, and I'm just like, really, because I was just having fun on this thing. So it's cool. And to see their eyes open up on the stage and see that, that's why I love doing ultimately what I do is to see to see their eyes and to have them laugh at jokes that I insert that they never even thought were in the film. But sometimes I'll throw things in and make people laugh with sound. And it's just incredible how I've grown to, know that, and I've just done that through experience. I haven't needed college. I haven't needed, anything. I just needed someone to take a chance on me.
Well, and I feel like that was always the philosophy that was ingrained in my head when I first got there. Like, everyone that I would meet that had a career would just tell me, "Yeah, man, just stay." And I didn't really know what that meant until a guy who was a really fucking good engineer explained it to me and like a bunch of other people one day. He was just like, "Yeah, man," he's like, "LA is like you're riding on a road trip in the middle of the desert, and a bunch of your homies are just gonna be like, 'Yeah, man, this trip's just too long, bro. Like, I'm thirsty. Like, let's stop and get a water. Like, actually, fuck it. Let's go. Let's turn back, dude. Like, this shit's just, the destination is just too far.'" He's like, "I'm telling you, man, if you just stay in the car and ride out to the destination, you'll be all right." He's like, "There is nothing to it other than that." And that's pretty, well, that's basically how I got in with Design Sound, which was Josh, like, taking a chance on me. Like, every time I'd do something, I'd fucking like fall on my face or like maybe it was just like not the right moment yet. And he's like, all right, cool, man. Well, you know, you stayed like a while here, and like I know, like I'm telling you, like I remember he had it was something where I was like just about to quit, dude. Like I literally I had this gig at a club in Hollywood called Beetle House, and they like totally fucked me over. I'm not even like afraid to say that on the podcast. Like they totally fucked me over, and dude, they fired me because this girl.
Honestly, in the early day, you get fucked over, man.
Yeah, I got fucked over a lot, dude, and like, but they fucked me over like the last time because I ended up getting this gig, and then my friend called me to do it because he's a studio guy, and he's like, well, I know you know some live stuff, man. Like, just do this gig. And I was literally like so broke, I was about to be living in my car and shit. And I took the gig, and it was like his friend that had to go out of town to get married or something. So it was like her gig, and I was supposed to fill in for it. And the owners ended up liking my work so much that they just wanted to keep me. And they're like, oh, dude, we'll just demote her when she gets back. Like, we'll make her a fucking hostess or some shit. And I was like, all right, well, this is probably not going to be good for me. Like, I just had a bad feeling. I was like, I'll take the gig because the money was good. And but it like the dynamics were just so fucked between me and this chick because she was so pissed at me. She like started plotting against me to get her gig back, and it worked. Eventually, I ended up getting let go, and I was staying at Josh's apartment actually, because I was supposed to be moving apartments. And dude, my apartment also caved the same day I lost the gig. Like the guy called me, he's like, "Hey man, actually, like I just had some bullshit happen. Like you can't move anymore." And I was literally supposed to move in there like Monday and shit. And I had just like ended the lease on my other place, so that's why I was with him. And I remember just like having this all happen like in one day.
Wait, what do you mean it caved?
Like it fucking like didn't like literally he told me I couldn't move in. Like I was supposed to move in like that Monday
or something. Yeah, man, that sucks.
Yeah, I was supposed to move in this dope duplex in West Hollywood because I just started like making some money now, like off this gig that I had, and it was a steady gig. So I was like, well, shit, now I can afford to like live in like the part of town I want to be in and shit. And then it literally fell through because he called me and said his roommate like wouldn't move out, and he had to like get a lawyer or some shit to get him out. And I was like, this is the most fucked thing. And I just remember like sitting there with Josh, and he literally his wife hands me a glass of whiskey. She's like, Serge, you can just have the rest of this. And I fucking sat there, and he's just like, dude, I just remember him being like, he's like, listen, Serge, man, he's like, I know that you're just completely broken right now. Like he'd always try to have like some fucking heartfelt shit with me. He's like, I know. He's like, listen, I know you don't want to admit it, man. You're putting on the tough guy act, but I know you're fucking broken. He's like, I'm just telling you, dude. He's like, you're so fucking close, dude. He's like, I can feel it for you. Like, just stick it out, dude. I think LA's the place for you. And I was like, nah, man, I'm not gonna do it, whatever. And then my friend called me the same day and was like, he's like, yeah, man, I have a place. I actually just had him on the podcast a couple weeks ago, Nikki. And he calls me and he's like, yeah, man, I'm actually gonna be gone on this gig for like the next 2 months if you want to just crash at my place. And I'm like, what the fuck? And all this shit sort of like full come together. And Josh just hooked me up with like a bunch of people, and one of them was Design Sound. And then literally like that week, I ended up doing the gig at Dr. Dre's house. I was like, all right, this is pretty sick, you know?
We're good, man. That's a crazy story. Yeah, I mean that's LA right there in a nutshell. Exactly.
It is, man. Like anything can happen overnight.
Yeah, but you don't forget those people, man. I mean, that Josh guy sounds like a great dude. You know, I mean, those are the type of people you want to keep around you. You know, the people that believe in you and pump you up. You know, and then you gotta keep that around. That's a good thing. And that's what Mike is to me, you know. That's why I work.
I think that's the only thing that keeps anyone going, man. Like if you don't have those people in that city, you fail, I think.
Right. I mean, well, and that's absolutely right. I mean, but even then, I mean, it's just becoming hard. You know, it is becoming hard to deal in the city, to be honest with you. I mean, prices alone, in order to have like just this apartment alone, I'm paying fucking $1,800 a month here.
Wait, they raised it? I thought it was 16 the last time we hung out.
No, it's it was 1750 or something like that. But then I had, because of all that shit at my office that I had, and I had to move it out. I ended up getting a storage unit downstairs.
Oh shit.
$1,820 or something I'm paying a month, which is a lot better than $2,300 a month. I'll tell you that, or whatever.
Yeah. Wow. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, it's just becoming really hard to do business here, and I've been talking to a lot of people because I've done so many. I'm an MPSE active member now. I became a member about a year ago, which is a huge honor. I mean, it's really cool because I wanted to get into a community. That way I can meet new people.
Right.
Start promoting me and Mike's stage too in Burbank.
Right.
But it's just like, I mean, Mike's going to be here. He has his whole family here. He just got engaged, and congratulations to him and Irene. They're awesome. But they have their life here, and I'm happy he has the stage, and to go in there and either mix tech for somebody or go in there and actually get with directors and fidget around with stuff. I love that. I love doing that. But I think there's going to be a time coming up for me pretty soon where I want to take that business, I want to take all that just as me, because I'm not an employee for Mike, or that stage. I mean, I'm heavily affiliated with it. But if I can move out to like somewhere very cheap, get the hell out of here. But
you mean like out of the state, or just somewhere in LA cheaper?
I mean, out of the state. I can't pay these prices anymore. I mean, these budgets are insane. I mean, I'm experienced roster eligible.
Right.
I took all this paperwork and I filled it out. I could get in. I could be at least eligible for membership. But even being eligible for the union doesn't guarantee me any gigs. It's not. I still have to find that work, and without actually knowing really that many people besides Mike and then a few others or whatever. And
and that's kind of the thing, though. I think with everyone's clique in LA, like everyone just had their group, and everyone like would use the group to like get to other groups, but you stayed in your group, kind of,
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, I'll tell you. I mean, and I already asked Mike. I was like, hey, man, if I moved, and got out of here, would you still work with me? And he was like, of course. He's like, yeah, man. I mean, you could pretty much do your job from anywhere. So,
well, that's good.
As long as you have awesome internet, I mean, you're pretty much good to go with me. I was like, awesome, Yeah. And then I have a couple of, clients that I've been talking to, and I'm kind of edging them toward me leaving.
Right. Yeah.
And to continue to work with me because, what I can offer is actually lower prices, right? I mean, if I can undercut, what I can, if I say lived in, Phoenix or, outside Phoenix, somewhere in Arizona, or if I lived in Nevada, or if I lived in, Oregon, or if I lived in Texas, right? I could offer such lower prices.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of my colleagues wouldn't want to hear that. It's not something. I'm not trying to hurt them.
Right.
I'm really not. I'm just trying to say, what are we doing here, guys? Why are we paying these prices?
Well, and that's another question I was even going to ask to stem off that. Like, where do you even think the future of film and entertainment is going to be in LA much longer?
I mean, it's gonna be, because it is, people want to come to LA, they want to go to the stages, they do, but with I mean, think of the pandemic. I mean, the pandemic itself has closed movie theaters. I mean, what's the point with everyone in their apartments and in their houses having sound bars for the most part? People don't even want surround anymore. They have surround headphones they have now and all that. I mean, the encoding on these computers here, even the output cards are, they have Dolby output channels through, you can choose your channeling, SMPTE or whatever, even through the default Windows 10 software, which is really cool. But at the end of the day, I mean, consumerism isn't buying 5.1. They don't have the space.
Yeah.
They really, I mean, some do, and that's great. I mean, I always will. I got my 5.1 in this little apartment. I mean, I use it to mix, but I love, experiencing that in film, and the more speakers I can put in here, the better. But, so you put that, with COVID doing that, everything going to streaming, so everything's coming out in stereo and everything's getting overcompressed.
Yeah.
And then you add just these crazy prices that are in LA, and then add to it, everyone overseas, right? Look at the studios in India. Look at the studios in Indonesia, dude, or Singapore.
Yeah.
There's so many people around the world that are offering these crazy prices because the US dollar goes so much further than it does in Los Angeles, that, there's no point for these filmmakers, these upcoming filmmakers to go to LA based houses when they have, micro budgets. I mean, they can't afford what it takes to run and operate in these big stages. And it's a shame, honestly, to see. As far as the future of everything goes, I'm not sure. But if I can offer my clients a lower price by leaving the LA marketplace and they're going to stick with me, then why wouldn't I do it?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't I leave? I mean, what's keeping me here? I mean, especially with the income taxes, all the litigation, the AB5 legislation.
Yeah, that was pretty much the deal breaker for me leaving was the AB5. I was like, dude, I don't even, because I when they put that in, I already planned on leaving at least, by this time or by, next year, 2021. I was like, I'm out.
Right. And I mean, if you think about it, I mean, if I could go to, say, Texas and grab a nice little property for cheap, and grow it and make it into a soundstage and pay literally a third of the price, that savings goes on to my clients, right? That entices them to stay with me, as opposed to, having to charge them outrageous, not outrageous. I mean,
it is though, I guess, to like because even over here in Nashville, dude, like it's just not even close to the same, like what you get paid to do anything in LA, playing audio, like all that shit.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these prices are just inflated because of LA real estate. Really, that's what it comes down to. And because, I mean, for a soundstage in particular, you got to have a lot of fucking room. You got to have a movie theater, essentially.
Yeah.
To claim yourself as, Adobe Stage. I mean, at least as far as I know. I mean, I haven't really heard of people having their apartments or a room in their house, being Adobe certified, you know what I mean? But even then, I mean, with Dolby, I mean, like I said, theaters are closed. Nobody's listening to these things in Dolby stages anymore. They're not going to movie theaters right now. And are they ever going to come back? I mean, I could tell you, I mean, in California, they ain't coming back. They ain't coming back anytime soon.
Yeah.
All the live gigs got canceled this year. They're done. I haven't worked since March. They have their, Design Sound, for instance, has their gigs, for after the new year, but we're going to see how that goes. That's still up in the air. So,
wow. That's insane, man. What a bummer.
I mean, the rest of the country's theaters are open, I mean, some of them.
I don't know if ours are over here in Nashville. I don't know if you can go see a movie.
Yeah, maybe not. I mean, in South Dakota, you can, right? I mean,
fucking South. Yeah, sure, man. South Dakota.
They closed down.
Hey, you probably can go see a movie in Mississippi too right now. Shit.
Yeah. But I mean, hey, I mean, that's your market, right? I mean, there's your 7.1. There's your. I mean, they don't even have Atmos, right? I mean, but everyone's got these Atmos stages.
I mean, a lot of places don't even have 7.1 though. Like most of it's 5.1, isn't it?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's a bummer. I definitely, doing movies was fun. I'm kind of glad to be playing again though, and doing, all this entertainment shit on the forefront, Yeah,
I mean, music won't really change too much. I mean, you have your concerts and stuff that you can't do, which is a big deal for artists. But I mean, if you guys are playing live out in, Nashville, I mean, that's freaking awesome, man. I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah, I haven't played a show in Nashville yet. It's only been in like Louisville, Kentucky and shit.
That's cool. I mean, either way, you're playing, and that's awesome because no one's playing out here. And if there are some, I mean, those are secret events that nobody's, that aren't really promoted or whatever. And I guess any gig's a gig, but at the end of the day,
you don't want to be living like that though, having to do secret shows all the time and shit, man.
Freedom that we have here right now it's not good, man.
Wow. Well, before we wrap things up, what is the biggest movie you've ever done?
The biggest movie, I mean, they're all indie flicks, you know. I mean, they really are. I haven't done anything huge, but I mean, I would say that animated film I did was my biggest so far, and that one's called To Your Last Death. Um, and it's just an animated. It's like you know the show Archer.
Yeah. Oh, I think you showed me a snippet of this film when I was
Yeah,
at the
well,
studio.
yeah. I think I probably did. I probably did when you were at the studio down, down the road. But yeah, I'd say that one. It's starring, William Shatner, Ray Wise, Marina Baccarin. The
Yeah.
animation style is like that of Archer, but it meets the plot line of Saw. And
Nice.
it was just so cool to do as a sound designer. I mean, the biggest one I did, I would say, is that one because the sky was the limit, and it is with animation. You could do anything you want,
Yeah.
create in any environment you want, depict anything, just depict sound the way you could imagine it, or break any barrier you want, because you don't have live action holding you back. Like
Yeah.
I couldn't, create things around in like a lobby, say, you know,
Yeah.
in like a live action film when it's not there. But I could in an animated film, like maybe throw like a waterfall in the background, or
Yeah.
create all these different atmospheres, and then all the ambisonics you can do with the sound effects and stuff to really create vibes is so cool in animation. So it's definitely my favorite.
Yeah.
Trying to get more into it, and yeah, animated film is awesome, and
I,
it's COVID compliant.
yeah, it's fucking true, huh?
Let's do more animations, guys. That's how we
Fucking
keep busy. Let's do more animation.
yeah, bring back SpongeBob, man. Just keep fucking cranking more South Park and shit. Shit, they probably ain't even hurting. Yeah, it's
So
fucking it's
cool.
great.
I can't wait to the new season. It's gonna be crazy.
Ban South Park. I remember when all the billboards were up for that.
I know, right?
Like hell yeah, man. Well, is there any last words you would like to add to this podcast? Any inspiration in such an interesting time?
Get sun. Go outside and get sun. That's what I'll say. It's
I
good for
love
you.
it. Would you encourage anyone to visit 6 blocks down the street from you?
Now, don't come around here at night. I don't go outside past like 10 or 9 or 10 p.m.
Shit, dude, that bad? Well, shit, we were hanging out at like fucking 1 a.m. when we were over there. Is it that
I know.
bad now?
Weird now. It's just weird. It's
Wow,
weird. It's just sketchy out there. And
wow.
I don't know, man. I mean, I was out there for the riot. I don't know if I told you about that, but
No, what? Wait, hold on. Tell me that real quick.
yeah, well, I went out to record sound effects.
That's awesome.
Well, I figured to myself, this is a once in a lifetime thing. I'm not going to be able, I hope to never be in a riot again.
Yeah.
But for it to be happening around my house, I got different perspectives, like on my roof.
Right.
And I went out in the street and witnessed them,
Wow.
shattering through my Walgreens and stealing all of the food that I bought.
Wow. That's insane, dude.
I got it all recorded, man. I got it.
But no one looted like your place, right?
No, nobody came in here. They did. They did break in, or somebody let somebody in, and then the police ended up pulling the fire alarm in our building.
Wow.
Get everybody out, and then the landlord was pointing out who lived here and who didn't, so that the cops could get the people that didn't belong here out of here.
Wow.
And, but yeah, I ended up going out there. I was only out there for like 15 minutes, and I was like, "This is unsafe." Everyone was passing around liquor bottles, and
oh my, wow.
it was just a party. That's all it was. It wasn't,
Yeah, that's what a riot is. Pretty much just opportunists looking for the opportunity, I guess. Wow.
Terrible.
Wow, man. Well, sorry you had to sit through that, but at least you got some dope shit out of it. Fuck.
I got some good recordings from it, but man, I went out there to sweep up glass that next day.
Really?
Oh yeah. I mean, there was people, Jews, Armenians, black business owners, white business owners,
Wow.
Chinese, all out there just sweeping up glass.
Wow.
So one woman crying in the street, man. I was out there. I didn't go to sleep that night. I kept going all night.
No, I'm sure. Yeah, that's crazy. I
I
wouldn't
went
go
out
to
the next
sleep.
morning and they were still looting. It's crazy.
Wow, man.
7:30
That's
in the morning I was out there and they were looting.
how long did it last?
I mean, I ended up going out around. I went out, made some coffee, and I went out, just to go and see what the damage really was after the night. And yeah, that was around 7 a.m. and I was just walking the streets, and the cops had blocked off some of the jewelry stores because all the jewelry stores got broken into.
Of
Like
course.
gone. These people.
Wow.
And I came back in around 7:30. There's this old woman looting the bar down the fucking road right here, man.
Jeez, man.
And I looked at her, I said, "What are you doing?" She's like, "Taking what's mine," and walked. And I didn't say anything after that, and I went right back inside. And I came back out at like 9:30 a.m. and then the city was out there boarding everything up, and
Jeez, man, that's horrific.
I've
So it only lasted 2 days then?
it lasted. Well, I mean, it lasted here only one night, really.
Oh, okay.
But throughout LA,
Yeah,
it
sure.
lasted like a week. I mean, they just kept going at it. But
Wow. That's crazy, man. Well, glad you're safe.
thanks, man. I'm glad you're safe in Nashville too. That's awesome.
Oh yeah, people here they're armed. No one's coming to my fucking house.
They are. You ever watch Hickok 45 on YouTube?
No.
Yeah, watch him. He's in Tennessee.
Oh really? I'll have to check it out, man.
It's a cool little shooting range that he has, and he goes through all this weaponry, and it's
like
really
it.
cool. It's actually a really cool channel. Check it out.
I will check it out. Well, cool, man. It's great talking to you. I'm glad we got to do this, man, and catch up and shit.
Yeah, it's gone on for a while. Hopefully, hopefully it's cool, But yeah, dude, I'm
Yeah, man.
happy to see that you're doing well, And that's
Same,
really cool.
man.
And
Yeah,
thank you for the opportunity, to share my
Of course, man. This shit will be out probably by the end of the week here. Hopefully Thursday. I'll get it out.
Cool. Yeah, I guess cut it or what. I don't even know. Cut it how you have to or whatever. But
I won't have to cut much on this one. Some of them are bad, dude. Sometimes people like say shit that I'm like, why the fuck did you just say that? And I have to like cut out like half the podcast. Now this one I don't really have to do much.
Like, oh man.
Oh yeah, like it was someone telling me about their fucking party with Dan Bilzerian or something, and I was like, I can't put this on there. They were talking about like getting a blowjob, like at the party they were working at, like doing sound and shit. I'm like, I can't put this on my podcast.
Right under the desk, huh? Jesus, man, that sounds like rock and roll right there.
Yeah, pretty much, man. I'm like, it's fucking dope, but I don't think I could put that on the podcast because our band just got nominated for a Dove Award, and I was like, yeah, this is gonna be bad shit if I fucking put this on there. So,
dude, cool, man. Congrats. Awards are good.
Awards are good, man.
Yeah, they make you feel good, Congratulations. It's good.
Well, thanks, man. Well, I'm sure we'll fucking talk again soon. Maybe I'll have you on again. I don't know. It's a lot.
Yeah,
There's a lot to talk about.
After I move, maybe I can come back on and let you know how the move goes.
Fair enough, man. That sounds good.
Yeah, man.
All right, bro. Well, thanks for being on Serge Tha Purge, and I'll let you go. You have a good night.
Rock on, man. See you later.
Peace.